Cassie, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
I will. So, hey, this is Cassie. Nice to meet you guys. We are hailing from Knoxville, Tennessee at this moment. I see some names coming up here that I recognize. So, Keith, I see you. It's nice to see you again virtually. I saw Dan. So, anyway, just a little bit of background. I have been working with EDI and SyteLine /CSI on-premise and in the cloud for 25 years or so, and we'll just stop at the 25. Next year, it's still probably going to be 25. I'm just going to stop counting. So all kind of implementations. So I have worked with companies that manufacture car seats, manufacture jewelry, hydraulics. So almost everything that you want to manufacture, service, Emily and myself, we have worked across a lot of industries. Look forward to talking with all you guys further. And Emily, I'll just hand it back to you.
Thanks, Cassie. So this is Emily Messenger. I work with the Radley Corporation. Radley has over 45 years as an industry leader in EDI, similar to what Cassie said, across all sorts of different industries. I personally specialize in automotive, but we do have customers all across the globe in all sorts of different capacities, some automotive, retail, grocery, food and bev, you name it, we've done it there. I've been consulting for Radley for 6 years, and Cassie and I have been working together, collaborating on projects for, I guess we're in our 3rd year now, or our 2nd year. Seems like a long time. But Cassie and I have been working, we've been working on some of these projects together for quite a while. So we, like Cassie said, some of the names that are popping up, we're familiar with these names. There are some new names, so thanks everybody for joining us. I'm sure that everybody that's on this call has a different level of EDI experience. Maybe your company has been exchanging EDI with your trading partners for years and years and years, or maybe EDI is something that's new to you and something that your company is just getting into. So in order to make sure that everybody here is on the same page with what EDI is and what the different transactions are, on this next screen here, Cassie's going to talk a little bit about some of the typical EDI transactions and how the data can flow back and forth between you and your trading partners.
Thank you, Emily. That was a great lead-in, and so we'll kind of get to, we'll start with the nitty-gritty, but we are going to stay at a high level initially because just like Emily said, we want to make sure that we kind of lead everybody and take everyone to the same place at the same time. So there's a difference here between the documents that you may send customer, you may receive from a customer, and of course there's always vendors. We don't want to leave them out, but we're going to just stick to customers for right now. So your customer may send you order information. That order information can come to you in the shape of an 850 standalone order. It could be an 830 production schedule. It could be an 862 JIT release. And I'll just stop right there because sometimes if you're new to EDI, those terms I'm using don't make sense. You may be relegated to speaking about an order based on SyteLine or CSI, meaning it's a customer order. And so all of those documents do end up being a customer order. And don't be confused by numbers if we're talking about an 850 or an 830 or an 862. It's okay. We're gonna help you get to that understanding. But those are all orders. Then your customer may want you to respond to those orders with an electronic invoice, which is an 810, electronic 856, which is an advanced ship notice. So one of the things that that Emily excels at, and I try to follow in with her on that, is like when we're talking to you, we're trying to understand what your customer needs from you, what they're going to send to you, and what you need to send back to them. So we're going to go through all these numbers. We're going to figure out what's the best fit for you guys and how that's going to integrate into SyteLine CSI. The 830, 850, 862, those all are part of standard integration. The 810, the 856, the 855 are all part of standard integration. And if you're looking at 997s, that's a function of your software, of the Radley software, iCARaS and iReady. Oh, so the big thing, I'm sorry, are you going to talk about, is it really standard?
That's exactly where I was headed. Go ahead, take it away.
Okay, so the big red box on the right is the EDI standard really standard? And so the answer is like yes, no, sort of, kind of. There are standards. If you look up Edifact and X12, there are global published standards. And those standards mean that when you're talking about, and we'll just talk about an 850, if you're talking about an 850, there are standards that say this is the way I'm going to relay the data from my system to your system, and it's going to look like this in the middle. So when we're talking about X12 and Edifact and standards, that's the way that EDI is the construct of the EDI data that's going to flow between systems. And that's where the term standard really applies. How you apply a transaction with your customer and your business process, your manufacturing, your service could be totally different, okay? And if there's 14 people on this call, and I say, Kim, hey, Kim, there's 14 people on this call, there could be 14 different ways that EDI may apply to you and your SyteLine CSI implementation. So don't get too wrapped up in the word standard, and just keep in mind that standard really applies to how the data is formatted when it's an X12 or Edifact. And then we kind of take care of it on both sides after we have a really deep conversation with you. Is that clear, Emily?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. So building off of what Cassie was just mentioning about how every trading partner can and will have different requirements, some of those requirements involve what we call recycling logic, which is, we'll take Nissan, for example. We'll send you a requirement one time with a certain qualifier, and then every time after that, they will send a different qualifier that tells you that this is that same requirement, but we need you to update it based on this qualifier. Whereas other trading partners will send you data one time, and it's up to your system to hold on to that data until you've actually shipped against it. Whereas there's other trading partners still who will send you a fresh, complete replace of their release every single time that they send their data. So, so based on what we know at Radley about each of these trading partners and what their specifications are, we have that logic built into each individual trading partner, so that once you set that trading partner up, you don't have to try to remember, do I need to keep GIST on file? Are they going to send me GIST again? If I somehow miss this one transaction, am I ever going to get it back? Additionally, there are some Asn restrictions with some trading partners that require you to send serial numbers or lot numbers in the ASN. Some trading partners require you to send a gross weight and a net weight. Some of them don't require a weight at all. So again, instead of you having to try to remember what you need to capture, we have all of those requirements built into each individual trading partner. The same thing goes with shipping label requirements and serialized container requirements. We have a software that allows you to print shipping labels based off of the requirements that are in iCARaS, that we print the label specifically based off of the requirement itself. We have those label specifications basically on file for every trading partner. So if you need to have a specific trading partner label, we can make sure that you have the appropriate template for that trading partner. Some trading partners, like Honda, for example, will require end-of-line labeling and scanning functionality. So we're able to interface with whatever you may have at the end of the line, whether it's a scale or a robot or whatever, a counter, whatever it is that you have that would send a trigger to iCARaS, which would say, we need to print a label now because we have just fulfilled the quantity for this detail container, or we have printed enough detail labels that now we know we need either a master or a mixed label. So we have the ability to interface with all sorts of things at the end of line to be able to meet that Honda or obviously other trading partners as well. Honda was just my example here to meet that requirement. As Cassie mentioned, the multiple EDI standards is X12, EDI, EDIFACT, VDA, whatever the standard is that your trading partner is expecting from you. At times, there's even where the same trading partner may have EDIFACT data and X12 data, depending on the location that they're sending from, and we're able to manage all of that. As well as ship reference requirements. You may know a ship reference as a RAN or a Kanban or a trigger. There's all sorts of different names out there, which could mean you cannot actually ship against the firm requirement until we send in a ship reference number so you know exactly what quantity to apply and what that shipment should be applied against. And additionally, one other thing is cum management. So some trading partners, instead of sending you a discrete quantity to ship on a particular day, instead they send you the cumulative quantity that you would be shipping against throughout the year. So say we know that we need to have shipped 250,000 pieces by today, and so far we've shipped 225,000 pieces, then the iCARaS cum management would know that today we need to ship 25,000 to meet that number. And again, even for trading partners that are discrete trading partners or that send you in a specific quantity that they want you to ship against, we're still going to track your cums for you yearly, and we have other reporting features too so that you know how much you have shipped to a trading partner of a specific part, or following through what iCARaS offers you, and how your employees will no longer have to carry the burden of remembering certain things for each trading partner. We don't have to go through the entire list of this, but here are some examples of what iCARaS, which a lot of people ask us what that stands for. iCARaS is the Internet-Enabled Complete Automotive Release Accounting System. We do have multiple products. This is the one that's specifically for automotive requirements. We do have one that's more aimed towards retail, where we don't typically see the same type of stringent requirements like the different shipping requirements or ASN requirements that a lot of the automotive trading partners have. So this is just a listing, and in case anybody was wondering, we will be sending this presentation out to everybody who's attended this meeting today. So if there's anything that's on this fairly long list here that we don't go over and you have questions about that, you will be receiving this presentation, and you are more than welcome to follow up with Cassie or myself. Our contact information is included here. So if there's something that we don't touch on that you want a little bit more information on, you're more than welcome to follow up with Cassie or myself to get that information. So this is just discussing some of those things we already talked about as far as what iCARaS has to offer you, as well as QuickShip, which is that label scanning software that I had mentioned. So once you have printed your shipping labels based on the trading partner's requirements, you're able to then use this bolt-on scanning software, which will then feed those serial numbers back into iCARaS as another verification of what is actually shipping and is the vehicle for getting those serial numbers in your ASN. So this was, now I do want to point out what I've been talking about here is mostly assuming that you would be shipping out of iCARaS and exporting your shipments back to CSI or SyteLine so that they could net out the inventory, close the lines, do your invoicing, etc. However, I do want to point out that the integration works both ways. So if you choose to ship out of CSI, or you want to use Pick, Pack, Ship, or if you decide you have a third-party shipping software that you really like and you want to keep using that, all of those things are possible. What I just spoke about was pretty focused on shipping out of iCARaS, but anything is possible. You could ship out of, like I said, a third party or CSI and import those shipments to iCARaS. We typically find that because all of that trading partner logic is already built into iCARaS, a lot of times it's easier to just let iCARaS handle that heavy lifting and let your ERP do what it does best, which is what we're going to talk about here on the next screen. Cassie, you want to take over?
You bet. And so some guys that are with us may think, wow, that is a lot of information. But just remember that when you're looking to implement EDI, bring your list of questions, because we're definitely going to bring our list of questions. A lot of the things that Emily touched on are things that either one of us would ask you, and a lot of times we do start with the end in mind, meaning we've got to get the product out the door, and how does the box have to look, and what does the box have to have on it? And so we ask a ton of questions. You should ask a ton of questions too. We may talk to different people in your organization as we kind of peel back and find out what really needs to be done while we implement. And so don't get overwhelmed because there are a lot of options. Kind of be excited knowing that there are a lot of options that we can use to enable you to do EDI properly, quickly, and efficiently. So on the Radley SyteLine integration, you guys may know that the first EDI integrations was actually with the Radley company. And so the partnership goes way back, even further than me. So it goes way back. So just know that these companies have been long partnered in the EDI process. And that should be very comforting to you to know that that integration piece has been in place for a long time. So the release export, the purchase order export, and so I'm reading those from the slide, and keep in mind that's an export out of the iCARaS, and so we're going to import into CSI. So one of the other things that when we begin discussing EDI and EDI implementations with you is we'll want to be clear on which direction the information is flowing. So in this case, this slide is talking about EDI order data exporting out of iCARaS into SyteLine CSI. This piece works extremely well, whether you are SyteLine, whether you are CSI, whether you are on-premise, whether you are in the cloud. And are there some changes as we have gone from 803 to 901 to 10 to in the cloud? Yes, there are changes, but all of those changes still come with a solution, meaning that we can still push data back and forth. So we can bring orders into the system with releases and purchase orders. We can also bring the shipper import into the system, meaning that if iCARaS has done shipping for you, there has to be a way to notify SyteLine CSI that inventory needs to be relieved and an invoice needs to be created, and that is the shipper export from Radley into SyteLine. We've got invoices. Depending on how your implementation goes, there's invoice information that needs to go to your customer. We would export invoices created from SyteLine CSI and push those out to Radley so they can properly disseminate those to your customers. The last two are parts and addresses. And so one might wonder, how do we trade information? What about basic information? You know, do I have to maintain two systems? So the cool thing is no, not really. The SyteLine CSI product has a way to push information out so that it can be consumed by Radley, meaning you don't have to key something 2 times. And these are all things that we're going to go over with you in detail and multiple times while we document everything thoroughly with you. Make sure you have it all down. And so one of the things that we also, the whole time, Emily, and I know that we've been through this enough, the whole time that we're asking questions because we're looking to see if there are any gaps. Is there something that is specific about what you do and how you send? Because obviously each and every one of your businesses are unique. And we're looking for gaps. And then there are times where we find that there is something that just does not happen out of the box. And again, my team has, you know, umpteen years of experience in filling those gaps. But again, a gap's not filled until we've thoroughly identified those things and made sure that we have all the information before moving forward. So Emily, did that kind of cover that slide? Perfect.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. We want to reiterate the fact that the partnership is not just a iCARaS, CSI, Radley, JD Noles partnership. The partnership includes you. as the customer. Do you know your business better than Cassie and I would ever be able to know it walking in the door for the first time? So while you're going to rely upon Cassie and myself and JD Noles and Radley for our expertise, we're also really going to rely heavily on you for your expertise of your customers, your business rules, and how you do your day-to-day business. So we have highlighted here just a few customers that Cassie and I, or I shouldn't say Cassie and I, specifically JD Noles and Radley have worked on together in collaboration. And we've got a couple of these folks actually on the call with us here, so thanks for joining us. We had a question in the chat regarding van services from Len Brown. Len, I'm not sure if you're there, but we will be providing you with a recording of this session, and you are also welcome to contact Cassie and or myself. But Len, your question was in regards to van services. So Radley will communicate with any number of vans that are out there. We can do FTP, SFTP, FTPS, OFTP, AS2, whatever the requirement is for the van that you're currently working with, we can meet that. Or we do also work closely with EasyLink, ICC.net, excuse me, part of the Open Text group. And as a reseller of that particular van, we can also actually help you get better discounts and better pricing. So if there's a specific van that you're working with that you wanted to know if we would be able to work with, or if we've worked with them in the past, we'd be happy to answer that question for you. Or if you're looking for a new van, we'd also be happy to go over what some of the options are with ICC.net. And in the chat, I believe that was the only question that we saw in the chat itself, but Cassie was speaking with one of our current, well, I guess he's current and former, an implementation that we have done in the past for a customer that we're still supporting. So Cassie, do you want to talk a little bit about Travis's question and his comment?
You bet. So the question is from Travis Hoover. Now, I feel like I'm doing a radio show now. So we've got a question from Travis Hoover, who's on the line. No, he couldn't make it today, but Travis did have a question. and he did a presentation at Sun Conference last year, and he was actually slated to do one again this year. Last year he did, I guess, all the things I needed, I wish I'd have known, about EDI, things I wish I'd asked. And this year's presentation was going to be, all the things I should have asked or all the things I learned. I forget exactly what it was. And so because he was just really coming out of the heat of the implementation, I asked Travis, I was like, what are some of the things that we could relate to the people on the call today? And so I'm just going to kind of read from Travis. And again, this is Travis Hoover at Westcon Controls. And so he thought it would be a good idea for you, as researching who you would like your partners to be, is, are they already working with some or all of your trading partners? Do they have a current knowledge, as in, have I actually worked with Amazon, not just have I heard of Amazon? You see what the difference is? It's like there's one thing to be familiar with the word, and one is, have you actually implemented? So he thought it was really important to ask your partner, have they worked with some of the trading partners that you're going to be implementing with, meaning that they're bringing current knowledge with them. He thought it was very important to understand how responsive your trading partner would be to you. Unfortunately, some of you guys may have felt that when you are going through an implementation, we'll just say through an implementation of SyteLine or CSI, that you got a lot of attention when you are new to the project. And we're onboarding and we're doing workshops, and now you're live, and everybody's answering your phone calls basically before you finish ringing, and you felt really important. And then some of you unfortunately may have got silent treatment, as in your calls and your emails weren't getting answered as quickly as you thought that they should have been. And so Travis thought that it was really important up front to try and understand how responsive your partners would be. And so I have to say that one of the things that Radley excels at and that we also try to do is make sure that this is your contact, these are the numbers, this is your helpline, this is the order that you go through when you need to get a hold of somebody. And so we want to be very, very specific on how you get your customer support on an ongoing basis. And then probably his biggest thing was making sure that everyone in your organization understands that EDI is more than just bringing in orders and sending out ASNs. Well, technically, that is kind of what it is, in a nutshell. You may need help, and Emily, this is one of the things that you guys do really good at. You may need help in understanding how it's going to impact your business processes. Is it going to impact the timing of any things? Is it going to involve any changes in production? Are we going to have to do anything different in shipping? What about my labeling process? And some of those things you may think are pretty straightforward, but they can kind of go north, south, east, and west really quick if you make assumptions. And so, Emily, I'll let you kind of speak on that one too, but it is really important not only that we assist you technically with getting the pieces in place and getting them operating smoothly, but that we help you understand how that may impact your business and help you answer and resolve any opportunities that may come up.
Okay, so thank you. And so one of the things that we want to keep in mind along those same lines, Cassie, I'm sure that you've experienced many times too, is that it's important when you are putting together your project team that you have the people who can answer the questions there in the room. Sometimes those people are not at the managerial level, the project management level. A lot of times those people are the people that are doing the job day to day. Your shipping clerks, your customer service people, your finance department, the people who are actually going to be using the software in the long run, and the people who really understand how things work day to day now are a very important part of that project team that you're going to put together. Something I've experienced, and Cassie, I'm sure you have as well, is that sometimes decisions get made in a vacuum. We'll have a group of people in a room who will have some conversations and come up with some decisions, and they don't realize how those decisions will affect the folks downstream. So it's really important to make sure that you have representatives from all areas of your business as a part of that project team, and that you include the people who are going to be using the software day to day, not just the folks who are more of a managerial type level.
No, I mean, no, absolutely, and this is kind of really where it gets down to the meat, so to speak, of the EDI implementation, is because we have the knowledge and we have the tools, and we've done it a bunch, and now it's our turn to work with your team and how you manufacture, how you produce, how you move product in and out your building, and answer these questions for your crew. And Emily, I couldn't have said it any better. It's like a lot of times decisions don't involve the plant manager, so to speak, or maybe it's not the CFO, maybe it's not the people that are, on a certain project team, but it's the people who's actually outside with the last hands on the box, and what's going to happen. But fortunately, because we've been through this a time or two, we're going to help guide you through this process. And again, I see people on the phone that we have worked with, and then names that I'm just not familiar with. And so we look forward to meeting you next year, which is going to be in Texas, I believe, so it should be a hoot. But we hope to talk to you between now and then and see how we can help you with your implementation. A lot of times, Emily, and I'll let you speak to this, this conversation is like, oh, hello, I'd like to do EDI. but you very well could call and say, hello, I've been doing EDI for a long time and it's just not working the way we want it to. So Emily, what would you do with that kind of question?
First, I'd want to understand what is not working specifically. Is it that your trading partner now has more granular requirements that you're not currently able to meet? Or is it more a matter of the people maybe who implemented that software 20-some years ago at your company are no longer there, and you don't understand why some of the decisions, you don't understand necessarily why you're doing something today, and a lot of times the answer is because that's the way that we've always done it, whether or not that's the correct answer or not. So when you come to us, if you came to us and said, we're doing EDI, but it's just we're not meeting all the requirements, then we would be able to kind of get down to the nitty-gritty of A, who are the trading partners, what are those requirements, and how can we help you fulfill them. One example I can come up with off the top of my head is John Deere recently instituted new serialization requirements for their ASN, and some folks just didn't have the capability of providing that type of serialization in their ASN. So we've had a couple of customers that have come to us specifically because their trading partner might have a requirement that they're just not currently able to meet. One of the things that you get with Radley is we stay up to date with all of those trading partner requirements. And once you purchase a trading partner license, the maintenance that goes along with that goes along with it. So if the trading partner does make a change somewhere downstream, if you've got the maintenance on that trading partner, then we're going to go ahead and make sure that you have all of the most up-to-date requirements without you having to come to us and say to us, oh, my trading partner says I need to do X, Y, or Z. We are in constant contact with the trading partners and with our other customers who may be hearing these things too. So they can let us know, like, hey, I got this email from Volkswagen who told me that this change is coming, or we got this, or we got that. So we do rely heavily on our customers as well, so that we all kind of stay in contact with each other. If you were to get some sort of communication from your trading partner, chances are we've already heard it, but we do appreciate when you would send that along to us too, just so we can kind of make sure that we're staying on top of everything.
As with any project, EDI is no different. Is the communication piece is vital. So that was a perfect example. I'm working with a customer who's coming off of a AS400 green screen, and it's developed over the last 20 years. And fortunately for the EDI coordinator, she retired. Unfortunately for the rest of the people on the team, including myself later in the game, no one has a clue what she was doing. We really like the idea of keeping the communication lines open and documenting everywhere possible. So yeah, I'm looking for questions too, and some people may prefer to do those through email versus the chat, but we're also open to feedback. I expect that everyone's going to be getting these type of invites from other service providers that would have been at Sun, and we would have preferred to be able to speak to you in person, but with today's environment, this is what it is. Emily, what else do we have to add?
That's about it, Cassie. I'm just double checking to make sure I haven't missed any questions in chat. If anyone has any questions, you are more than welcome to ask those now, or we will be sending out this presentation. As you can see here, that's Cassie's and my email addresses. Anyone is more than welcome to contact either one of us. We really appreciate you all for being here. And we can leave the call open for a couple more minutes if people have questions. Otherwise, as soon as we're done here, I'm going to be downloading this recording. And the recording itself will be on the website, both the Radley.com and the jdnolesconsulting.com website. And the presentation itself will be emailed to everybody who joined us today. So I just want to say thank you to everybody.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to stand alongside you guys.